Since the dawn of time, humanity has always looked up at the stars and dreamed of exploring the unknown. The vastness of space has inspired countless generations, leading to myths, legends, and scientific inquiry. But it wasn't until the 20th century that we turned that dream into reality. From the first artificial satellite to rovers exploring Mars, space exploration has transformed our understanding of the universe. But how did we get here, and what comes next? This is the history of space exploration, from Sputnik to Mars rovers, a journey through our greatest cosmic milestones. The modern era of space exploration officially began on October 4, 1957, when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite. It was a modest creation, about the size of a beach ball, weighing just 184 pounds, but its impact was monumental. Orbiting Earth every 96 minutes, the satellite emitted a simple radio signal that could be picked up by scientists and amateur radio operators alike. The world was awestruck. Though primitive by today's standards, this tiny metal sphere proved that humanity had the capability to reach beyond Earth's atmosphere. The launch of Sputnik 1 sent shockwaves across the globe, particularly in the United States. The Cold War was in full swing, and space quickly became the next battlefield of technological supremacy. What followed was the space race, a fierce competition between the two superpowers to dominate the heavens. The Soviet Union led the early phases of the space race. Just a month later, on November 3, 1957, they took an even bolder step, sending a living creature into space. Laika, a stray dog found on the streets of Moscow, became the first animal to orbit Earth aboard Sputnik 2. Soviet scientists selected her for her resilience and trained her to withstand the extreme conditions of space travel. Sadly, at the time, there was no technology to bring her back safely. Laika perished a few hours into the mission due to overheating, but her journey provided invaluable data on how living organisms respond to the harsh environment of space. Without her sacrifice, human spaceflight might have taken much longer to achieve. In direct response to the Soviet Union's early victories in space, the United States made a decisive move. On July 29, 1958, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act, creating NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. NASA took over all non-military space activities, consolidating scientific research, engineering, and spaceflight efforts. The goal was clear: America would not be left behind in the space race. Early NASA missions laid the foundation for the U.S.'s space ambitions, leading to the Mercury, Gemini, and ultimately Apollo programs. With NASA's formation, America was officially in the game. While NASA was still in its infancy, the Soviet Union continued to set new records. On September 12, 1959, the Soviet Union achieved yet another major milestone with Luna 2, the first human-made object to reach the moon. 2 days later, it crash-landed on the lunar surface, confirming that space probes could reach celestial bodies beyond Earth. This mission marked another Soviet victory in the space race, solidifying their early dominance, whilst it also provided scientists with crucial data on the moon's environment. Then came the moment that changed history. Just 4 years after the Sputnik missions, the Soviet Union were once again the pioneers of creating historic milestones in space. On April 12, 1961, cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space. Aboard Vostok 1, his flight lasted 108 minutes, completing one orbit around Earth. As he gazed at our planet from above, he uttered the now famous words, "I see Earth, it is so beautiful." His journey was yet another triumph for the Soviet space program, further intensifying the rivalry with the United States. Determined to catch up, the United States made its first major breakthrough on May 5, 1961. Astronaut Alan Shepard became the first American in space. His suborbital flight aboard Freedom 7 may have lasted only 15 minutes, but it was a crucial step for America. It proved they were ready to compete. Shortly after, President John F. Kennedy addressed Congress, delivering his historic speech. I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. With this bold declaration, the Apollo program was born. While the United States was preparing for its Apollo moon missions, the Soviet Union was developing its own lunar program. The N-1 rocket, designed to rival the US's Saturn V, was the Soviet Union's attempt at reaching the moon. However, between 1969 and 1972, all 4 test launches of the N-1 ended in catastrophic failure. The most disastrous launch on July 3, 1969, resulted in one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. With no successful flights, the Soviet moon program was quietly abandoned, marking the end of their race to put cosmonauts on the lunar surface. Eight years after Kennedy's speech, the impossible became reality. On July 20, 1969, Apollo 11 made history. The goal of landing man onto the moon was achieved. As the world watched in anticipation, astronaut Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface and declared, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." He and fellow astronaut Buzz Aldrin spent over 2 hours exploring the moon, while Michael Collins piloted the command module in orbit. The Apollo 11 mission was a defining moment in human history, watched by an estimated 650 million people worldwide. The United States was finally winning the space race, but the journey was far from over. NASA continued to refine the Apollo missions into the early 1970s, totaling 6 successful Apollo missions, taking a total of 12 astronauts to the moon. After the Apollo program ended, NASA needed a more cost-effective way to travel to space. The solution was the Space Shuttle, a revolutionary reusable spacecraft designed for multiple missions. On April 12, 1981, the shuttle Columbia embarked on its maiden voyage, ushering in a new era of space exploration. Over 3 decades, 5 orbiters, Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour, completed 135 missions, deploying satellites, conducting groundbreaking research, and assembling the International Space Station. However, space travel remained inherently dangerous. The tragic Challenger disaster in 1986 and the Columbia accident in 2003, each claiming the lives of 7 astronauts, served as solemn reminders of the risks of human spaceflight. The late 20th century saw a shift from competition to collaboration. In 1998, a new era of international cooperation began with the launch of the International Space Station (ISS). This remarkable achievement was the result of joint efforts from NASA, Roscosmos Russia, ESA Europe, JAXA Japan, and CSA Canada. The ISS serves as a unique microgravity laboratory where astronauts from around the world conduct cutting-edge research in physics, biology, and medicine. It also acts as a stepping stone for future deep space missions. For over 2 decades, the ISS has been a symbol of what humanity can accomplish when nations work together, transcending geopolitical boundaries. Though humans have yet to set foot on Mars, robotic explorers have given us a glimpse of its secrets. In 1997, NASA's Pathfinder mission successfully landed the first rover, Sojourner, on the Martian surface. This small but mighty machine paved the way for more sophisticated rovers. Missions like Spirit and Opportunity uncovered evidence of ancient water flows, while Curiosity confirmed that Mars once had the conditions necessary to support microbial life. Most recently, the Perseverance rover, launched in 2021, has been searching for signs of past life and collecting samples for a future return to Earth. These robotic pioneers are helping us prepare for human exploration of the Red Planet and bringing us closer than ever to answering the age-old question, are we alone in the universe? In the 21st century, space exploration is once again evolving. Private companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic are revolutionizing the industry, making space travel more accessible than ever before, and even pioneering space tourism. With reusable rockets and ambitious plans, commercial spaceflight is making space more accessible than ever before. NASA is preparing for a historic return to the moon with the Artemis Program. Artemis 3, planned to launch in 2027, will land the first woman and the next man on the moon. The objective is to explore the moon for scientific discovery and create a sustainable lunar presence. serving as a stepping stone for future missions to Mars. And Mars is the next great leap for humanity. NASA and SpaceX aim to send the first humans to the Red Planet within the next 2 decades. The colonization of Mars is a real possibility. Beyond Mars, scientists are developing plans for interstellar travel, asteroid mining, and even searching for habitable exoplanets. The possibilities are limitless. From the primitive beeping of Sputnik to the dusty surface of Mars, space exploration has redefined our place in the cosmos. What will the next 50 years bring? Will humanity venture beyond our solar system? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, our journey into the final frontier has only just begun. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating journeys through history.